Damn, Marie's here already. That's twice back to back. What's going on? Bear with me 2 seconds. I am just sending the link out to everyone. I thought I'd acknowledge the early joiners. Put this in the Discord. How's it going, Marie? How's things? Changing studios, that's pretty cool. You're never doing it again. Is it like moving everything around? Right, let me switch around so you can actually see me at the same time. I think I sent it out everywhere. What's up, beautiful people? How we doing? Get the pen grip on, because drawing without a pen grip these days feels so strange. It feels like the pen is just so small without it. Cool, that's all good, that's all good, that's all good. Sweet. I think my computer's about to have a little mad 5, but we're good, we're good. How come you're moving your studio around, Marie? What are you getting out of it by moving it around? Just about still here. I think it's lagging just a tiny bit. Let's try and close some stuff down in the background. So Vania? I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing? Hopefully I am closing some stuff down. This computer seems to be having a bit of a mad one. And then we're good to draw. Well, I can find literally up until then, and then what's up, Mattia? How you doing? Hello from Italy. How are you? I think we're nearly there. I'll fire. Are we still here? If you're here in the chat and you can hear me, just drop I don't know, drop a 1 in the chat, just so I can make sure everybody can actually still see me and hear me. Otherwise I'm gonna have to restart this. Okay, I think we should be good. I think we should be good. I think that's fine. I think it's just about sorted itself out. Right, cool. Let me just get rid of some of this. And we're good. Cheers, Russell. Appreciate that. JM, how you doing? Thanks for your videos. No problem, my friend. No problem. You got ones. Okay, cool. Cool. Whew. Thought we were gonna have to reset that then. So Kreslin, I can hear, but there's lag. Not sure if it's just me. It's probably me, but I think it's just about fixed itself. Although I just have another error here. It's jumpy. Do we run it back and start again? It would take a little while. Alright, I'll see how it goes. It looks like it might have just about fixed itself. What's up, Milo? How you doing? You find me trying to see if this is just going to stay live or not. We don't get any more errors. I think we're good. I think we're just about good. Alright, cool. Let's switch it around. Let's do some drawing. Although that went a bit laggy as well, and like my hand's not even showing at all. Like that's actually completely frozen up there. Damn. What's up, Fabio? Do you know what? Everything was great. Come on. I actually go live. Nah. Then everything goes bad. Was that the problem? Was that making the whole thing lag? I hope you're also having a lovely day, Kreslin. Cool. Right, first of all, mad. How many days has it been now? The Easter tutorial went up on, it's not Friday gone, the weekend before. So what's that, like 12 days ago now? What a mad time for me on my channel. That video's had 34,000 views. So it's now my highest tutorial by a stretch, by far, in 12 days. And subscribers through the roof. Like I was hoping to get 20k by the end of the year, and like with this huge boost that I've had in the last like 12 days, could easily hit 20k by the end of the year. It's nuts. So it's been sick. Like it's nuts. Like my phone, I'm like struggling to keep up in them. Like I'll wake up and I'm like just looking at my notifications. I'm like, how the hell am I going to get through all of these in time? So Kristen says, I got a good laugh out of seeing someone's comment, you should make a tutorial on one of your Instagram posts showing the tutorial. Yeah, somebody asked me, can you make tutorials on YouTube? And I was like, I do every Friday. Every Friday. What's JM, do you have any specific tips for beginners? What sort of tips are you after, my friend? What sort of things are you after? Are you after more finding your style, little bits and bobs inside the app? What is it you're after? You let me know and I'll come back to that question. What's up, Jordan? Guys, if it really seriously lags and you all get the same lag, just let me know and I might have to just restart this. I don't know if it's worth doing it now while it's just at the very beginning of the stream, maybe. I've got one. What's this? Thank you, Milo. I appreciate that. It's been awesome. I'm really pleased. Great. They say on YouTube you got to keep going and keep going and keep going, and then one video will do really well, and you just got to keep going until one of them get picked up, and it's doing really well. So it's a shame. Obviously, Easter's now come and gone, so obviously it may just fall down a little bit in terms of the views, but we've got some lovely new faces to the channel, so. Still all good. I'm going to use this one for a second as my palette just before I start to add in some extra stuff. For digital art, and yes, finding your style. So digital art's an interesting one. Okay, let's answer that question before I start drawing. One thing I would say with digital art in general is you have a wonderful opportunity with the fact that you don't have to waste resources. You can, so in real life, if you wanted to try a style out, you got to go get a canvas, you got to go and buy the paints potentially, or a specific set of brushes, or, you know, this, that, and the other, and lots of things that you maybe have to financially invest in. Take advantage of the fact that you can do one style one day and then do another style the next day and just completely change it up. And even if you just sketch something out and you got an idea in your head and you just want to sketch something out, just do it. And it's not a waste of, it's just a file. You can just delete it or clear it and start again with something completely new. You have such a useful opportunity to use your the skills. One thing I would also say is I in my tutorials lately have tried to really explain the process of why I create extra layers. I'll always create a clipping mask. I will never necessarily draw a shape. Let's just draw a shape and then, you know, let's just say that's like a mountain. I would never like the idea of alpha locking the layer to then paint onto the layer directly. Because if you do that, so let's say here, yeah, I'm painting this in, it's wonderfully detailed mounting, but I want to make that a little bit darker. Well, I have no opportunity now to do that. That is stuck on one layer. Whereas if I was to make a new layer, tap on that layer and clipping mask it to it, do exactly the same highlight pretty much on this left hand side, you have the opportunity to then lower the opacity down. You have the option to, you know, erase part of it, just little things like that. So use of layers, and if you're a real beginner and you've only just started doing it, tutorials is a wonderful thing that this community has, full of amazing creators. If you've not heard of any, there's Art with Flow, of course, Tatty Works, myself, James Julia, who does some wonderful landscape work. Guys, put some more names in the chat if you've got any other people you can recommend. But doing I tell you what, even myself, I'll still do tutorials occasionally, because there's occasions where somebody will say something to you or instruct you to do something, and it may be just the smallest thing. For example, go into the disc. If I wanted to select white, I would probably have dragged that up into the corner and hope for the best that that's white, and likewise black at the bottom. But you can double tap in the top left hand corner and it's select white, double tap at the bottom. And that, I know that's a small thing. I know that's only a small thing, but it helps your process. And it's one of those things you watch a video and go, whoa, I didn't even know you could do that. Like, I didn't know you could do that. And then it's one thing that it just goes into your repertoire of skills all the time. But doing tutorials from lots of people just to get started with, even if you do it, I mean, I know people in the situation that just do tutorials all the time. That's all they want to do. They never ever want to do their own work, and that's cool. There is nothing, I'll make that crystal, there's absolutely nothing wrong ever between doing tutorials because you enjoy them and people doing their own work or branching off. You never ever have to branch off and do your own work. It's, if you get enjoyment, if you get 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour's worth of peace, calm, whatever it may be, of, you know, just sitting down and just having a wonderful time, just disappearing for half an hour, then do it. Like, and if that's all you want to do is tutorials, then just do tutorials, because there are the creators that are out there. There's so much variety. You can find tutorials that will test you in different ways. I can guarantee, you know, some of my tutorials, for example, let me just quickly find one that I've just posted, or I've posted recently over on Patreon, for example. If I go to here and I go to here, this would probably look as if it was a little bit daunting, but the tutorials that are out there would be really useful just to teach you simple techniques and just lots of little things that you'll eventually build up on the way. So trust in your content creators, that like Hassan said there, Hassan. It's a wonderful community and it's super positive if you go into the right places, but find right places that you enjoy. My Discord, for example, you can come and join in the community over there if you're not already there. And I know you asked the question and I've sort of rambled on a little bit, but it kind of answers a few things. at the same time, then you mentioned about finding your own style. You will do tutorials by some creators and think, I love this style, but I would tweak this, and then boom, you found a style. You found a style that somebody taught you that you never thought you'd like before, such as I'm obsessed with this level of painting at the minute. I can show you another few that I've done. You know, this is another one, kind of close in terms of a palette, but little things like this is like, you know, I'm obsessed with that style of painting at the minute, creating these landscapes. There's another one as well that I drew, which is this one here. And you'll find something you like, and when you do, you're sorted. Luana, welcome to the family. Just become a patron. If you're in the chat, I appreciate you, and welcome and enjoy the tutorials. But you got all of these tutorials that you can crack on with. I'll just flick around because I don't want to expose too much of the tutorials that are coming up. So yeah, a bit of a long-winded answer, but there isn't necessarily a straightforward answer. So sometimes you got to just give a little bit of reasoning as to why. But for sure, the community helps out a bunch. It gets so many people off to a flying start, and people creating stuff that they didn't actually think that they could start creating that straight away. Like the second that they get the second they get started, or they get their iPad and they get their pencil and then they do a design. Like, I mean, I started off by doing art with flow tutorials. You know, once you see those tutorials and you start working, your mind runs, and that's when your creativity starts to increase and your ideas and thoughts. So I hope you're still here, if I didn't bore you too much, but yeah, there you go. And you, let me see where we got to. Jordan said the balloon one is awesome. I appreciate that. I know you enjoyed that one, didn't you? Your patterns that you did were superb. Superb. And then he said, coming from traditional painting, absolutely love Procreate. It gives you so much freedom. Exactly that. Exactly that. So many layers, so many opportunities, so many different things you can do. Kara says there, thanks for the explanation. I'm new to Procreate and couldn't work out the difference between clipping masks and alpha lock. Kara, if you've got any more questions, you just drop it in the chat. I'm happy to explain anything as I go, or just quickly detour to a different avenue. Jay's here. How you doing, Jay? And Rebel's here as well. How's it going? Chris Lynn says, agreed. My boyfriend went and bought a new iPad Pro. So seeing how much, after seeing how much fun I was having doing my tutorials, I only have one, only have a basic one. It's an addiction. It sure is. And do you know what? Sometimes being on the other side, so now if you're going to say I'm on the creator side of things now rather than the content consumer, like on the other end, I have no idea how you guys do it. Like, I see some of my patrons, and they're patrons to Flow, they're patrons to Tatty, they're patrons to like 3 or 4 different people. I don't know how you guys do it, because those 3 creators alone, we're putting out tutorials all the time. I'm doing 2 a week. Other creators are doing 2 a week, sometimes more than that. And you got like a tutorial a day to try and squeeze it. I just don't know how you do it. It's nuts. It's so much to keep up with because there's constantly content coming your way. But it's cool because then you can definitely just hand pick the ones that you want to do. Kreslin, how is your boyfriend getting on with Procreate? Is he enjoying it as much as you are? And Marie says it's just not Facebook groups. They're not welcoming to newbies. It can be hit and miss. I do like the Procreate for Beginners group. I don't know if it's a different matter for different people potentially. Mala says this community is about love, create, and learn and help each other. It's about to have fun in the process and share it with friends and the community. Exactly that. Exactly. Oh, and JM's still here. Didn't get bored at all. Thank you so much. You are very welcome, my friend. Very welcome. Cool. Right. So today I've got an idea of drawing like a beach scene. I've got a lovely little palette set up. So I'm going to sketch out for any newcomers to Procreate. This is just a process that I do, and a lot of, well, to be fair, it's not something that I do. I learned it part of a process that a lot of professional graphic designers and illustrators will do. They'll draw it in grey first, get the basic shapes, get the composition, and then from there they've got everything that they need to then start coloring in. Sometimes using color straight away can be distracting to what it is you're trying to do. Oh, I think we're lagging a little bit again. 1 second. If that makes any difference. I don't think it does. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a let's grab a mid-gray first of all, and let's start painting it. Now these brushes I'm going to use are part of my landscape collection. Now these are, oh, it's just catching up by the looks of the stream. My hands don't move that quick. They're available to patrons currently, but they will be available potentially in the future, but I'm not making any plans just yet to release them publicly. Only to patrons for a little bit. I want them to be exclusive for a while. Oh, I've just done that all on the same layer. That's me nattering that. So I go on about layers and then I just don't bother using them. Something basic like that. That's going to be the sandy layer. And then we'll move into some darker shapes here on the right hand side. Lovely. Maybe we'll move into some mid-ground. Oh, that's probably another recommendation point, is look at photography if you're like stuck for certain things. Like just a photograph of a landscape, if that's the type of thing you're into, and then try and replicate it. And just as Milo said there, if you are here, folks, if you could drop a like, that'd be magic. And if you're new here, I do these live streams every Wednesday. So essentially, it's me drawing because you know, I've got content to sort of plan out and make, but we come and have a chat and just hang out. Thinking maybe some sort of like, I want to create some sort of like archway, so it's like a big rocky archway. What if it actually is like a bouncing archway, so it like comes down here, goes down towards the water's edge, maybe something like that. So the minute I'm imagining this is the sand, this is your water. And then we've got sort of big structures coming down from the side there, and then maybe right in the distance we have some mountains and such. Of course, it wouldn't be a JoelCreate drawing these days without some mountains in there. How are we all doing anyway? Who's getting into some tutorials at the minute? And if you're a new face, come and say hello. I keep dropping it onto that same layer, behind the sea layer there. You're very welcome, Jay. It's all good. It's all good. What's up, Jay? Hey, Joe. Just working on a doodle challenge and was wondering if you're allowed to use multiple doodle challenges in one drawing. You go for it. You go for it. The doodle challenge doesn't really have that many rules, but you can do what you feel is best. it's just a little bit of fun. You don't have to stress about it too much if you ever do. So always just meant to just give somebody just a little bit of something to do that day potentially, you know, without following a tutorial. Just a little bit of creativity, see where it runs, see where it goes. Something like that's going to look pretty good. These mountains in the very far distance. Let's change the background then to white because I'm not getting anything I can draw with. Yeah, cool. You're very welcome, JM. Cara says, reminds me of the classic Jurassic Coast image. I think I've been there, actually. They're beautiful sort of landscapes. I love painting landscapes at the minute. And I had to have a conversation with myself the other day. I was just like, what content do you want to make? Because I feel like I got to sort of do certain different types of content here and there. And I was just like, but what do you want to make? What content do you want to draw more? And I was like, it was the landscapes. I said, well, to myself, well, you got to do it. You got to get those landscapes out of there. So, new subscriber on YouTube. What's up, Philly? Is it Philly? Philippe? So yeah, YouTube's been crazy. Could not. No, so I've gone and accidentally grabbed like a pink tone, but not purposely. Now I think maybe because of how I've got this sort of set up, these could do with being like a little bit different. I don't know, maybe I need to be a bit more adventurous with the rocky formation. Maybe add in some more. JM, last question. No, mate, you carry on. You send us as many as you want. Last question for today. How exactly do you blend in Procreate? That's a good question. I don't. My blending process is very different in terms of well, I mean, blending as such is the smudge tool. You go to the smudge tool and you need to find a brush that's going to work for you that you can paint in the content you want. But for me, I like to do the whole process as I'm painting. So let's just duplicate this layer for a second and go to this one and grab, say, like a gray. And then, so you first of all, potentially need to just paint in like your big blocky areas. Let me alpha lock that layer for a second. You maybe just need to like alpha lock it and paint in roughly your highlights. So, you know, where's all this rocky highlight gonna sit potentially, you know, all this sort of stuff. And then just go up to the smudge tool, which is the second tool. I never use it, but then at this point, you're then gonna start going backwards and forwards and just smudge that edge out like so. And then you should like slowly obviously be able to transition two colors into each other. Now that one is obviously quite a sort of a jagged brush, but if you were going to go ahead and use, say, like an airbrush, a soft airbrush, you'll get a much more sort of blended motion. Now blending's really good for things such as like skin. If you paint on with a lot of different tones, you can then start to smudge these together, blend, and just slowly smudge it out. So if you want to get a really soft look to something, smudging is good, but me personally, I don't use it that much. Again, simply being that it's not really my cup of tea. I like to sort of paint in and kind of do the whole process myself. But you are more than welcome to ask me as many questions as you like. So I'm gonna first of all then just refine this shape a little bit more. I think maybe it could be a little bit sort of more pointed areas on stonework. I've said it lots of times, really help with creating something to bounce your light off of. That looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that as it is for a minute. Now potentially I could really utilize this a bit more and maybe even move this. No, let's leave that where that is. Maybe just move this, maybe make this a little bit bigger. How could I get that to sit in front? Let me just drag that up a sec, see what that looks like. No, tell you what, we're going to have a little sort of peek through. We're going to have a peek through into there and into the background. Okay, I think I'm kind of happy with that. We're going to make adjustments as we go. So that's in. Oh, I tell you what, actually, JM, and any newcomer to Procreate, please just know I'll speak for myself. None of my videos are ever shot first time, everything right. And I would say it's probably the same for all of your content creators. Please don't be annoyed with yourself if you have to attempt, say, like, if I do a step where I'm like, right now, highlight this or do this step, and it takes you a few iterations to do it, it probably took the content creator the same amount of time. So never sort of compare yourself to the finished YouTube video. It's like any video or like any movie, there's outtakes. You just copy in your own time, but don't be ever get frustrated with yourself when it doesn't necessarily go right first time, because I could fill out an hour-long slot on my channel with my outros. So let's make this one a bit bigger. Let's go right up here. Let's be a bit more dramatic with that. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Let me just see where I got to with the chat a second, because then Cara, Lydia says, hi everyone, hope you're having, hope everyone's doing well this afternoon. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Jay says you started the hand but haven't finished it yet. Is that the neon one? And Malik saying, hope I have time after work to draw the challenge. A rough sketch I made during lunch. Perfect. Prepping ahead of time. And Kara says, I'd be interested in hearing how anyone chooses their color palette. I find myself procrastinating for far too long. Kara, are you still here? Just before I jump on that subject for you, a little conversational point regarding colors. Potentially quite a useful one. Let me know if you're still here and we'll jump onto that point. I'm gonna maybe just adjust this shape a little bit, give it a bit more character. Yes, she's still here. Okay, cool. One really cool thing, which probably I don't see in tutorials enough. I spoke about this last week. And then Jay just says, regarding color palettes. For choosing a color palette, I have to think of how I'd want the drawing to look first. Sometimes I just pick a color and don't even make a palette. Yeah, sometimes you drag and drop colors and see if they match. But a really good way of picking colors, go to this harmony tab here on the color options. Now, at the minute, it doesn't look too good because we've got a dark color selected. But let's go ahead and let's just drag this all the way up so you can see the wheel. Now, there are multiple different options under colors. And if you see the title here, underneath, it's currently on the option of complementary. So if I pick a orange, it's going to pick the exact complementary color here in blue, meaning that you can create designs nice and easily that follow the logic and rules of colors, meaning to always use a complementary color. So a complementary color can be really good. Let's say my fox design, just 2 seconds. Let me jump to that fox design and then show you what I mean by this. I don't know where this is going to be now. Feels like I did this ages ago. Here it is. Just a very minimalistic, just simple tutorial. But this orange, I believe I simply just grabbed the orange here in the middle, a rough one in the middle. Go up to my colors, and the complementary color was here. The beauty of doing that is for something really simple like the background blue, which is the complementary color to the orange that I must have selected at the time, just drop it in, and then in your mind and for other people viewing it, it's appeasing. It looks like they sit well together, it matches, and so it's it's great to create those sort of palettes from. So that's good if you want to like to maybe select a color that goes with like the background of your main element in your design. Another thing you can do is go to colors, and if you tap on complementary, there's multiple different options. Now if you pick split complementary, you'll get 2 complementary colors. So I could have like a greeny teal color and this darker blue, and then I could potentially drop the darker blue into here. It's actually more of a purple really, and then maybe change the background color to the other split complementary color and drag it in, and somewhat the palettes already look like. If I could imagine that being, if that fox wasn't so like potentially more graphical and maybe a bit flatter and even simpler than that, you could imagine that being a logo of a company, especially with these 2 split colors in the background. But if you got rid of like the gradient here in the fox and stuff, you could imagine that being a logo. So that's one thing you can do regarding split complementary colors. Then something really, really useful is this one here. If you go split complementary in this analogous, I don't know how to say it. This will give you, if you pick a color, you can see there are 2 little extra dots just following it around as I make my way around. Essentially, if I say to Procreate, I really like this blue, well, it's going to give me 2 colors above. It's going to give, well, 2 colors near it. It's going to give me a sort of tealy green color on this occasion and a blue. That's super useful for things such as if I was to very, very quickly, like, I don't know, make a gradient, those colors are going to work nicely together. A gradient, then it could also mean that I could, let's say, very quickly just grab white, drag that onto the screen, go to colors. So I think I was up here, I was roughly here, I think roughly there. If I was to very quickly say create like a shape, let's just do it. I know you guys are probably fed up with me. Let's do it just a mountain, just very quickly, because a mountain can have a highlight side and a shadowed side. So you could then, with your split colors here, grab the darker one out of the 2. So the one above and the one below, which one's darker? On this occasion, it's this blue. And then you could go ahead and just alpha lock it first. You could then use this as your shadowed color potentially, you know, just like down the mountain's edge here, something like this, just as an idea. And then you could switch to the green on this occasion to be your highlight color, you know, and then just make your way down the mountainside here, something like that. You know, it's a quick idea, but the logic's there in terms of how that works. It looks, to be honest, that's probably like the worst color choice I could have probably picked for that. Something like a red, or sorry, picking like an orange tends to look really good, because if I pick orange here, you get a yellow as the highlight color. So orange, you get like yellow now, so I can really paint in these sort of little streaks up and down this sort of side of the mountain. Something a bit more like this. And then switch it to the other color, which on this occasion the darker one is the red, and then just darken it up. But the Procreate's done the work for you. It's worked out the colors that match and sort of complement each other. So if I zoomed out on that, that could be like a really cool, you know, zoom out, like, I don't know, some sort of really minimalistic style, something like that. Or again, use it to create gradients. So if I actually clear that layer, drag the main color in the middle onto the screen, grab your selection tool and the rectangle option and color fill, and then grab the first color, create a box at the top of a third in the yellow, and then grab the red and repeat. So grab selection tool, rectangle and color fill. I know I'm whizzing through it like so, and then go to your adjustments, gauge and blur them together, and you got a gradient that works nicely together, something like that. And to be honest with you, after that, let me just make sure I don't ruin this fox design. By the way, this is a tutorial on YouTube if you've never done it before. Really simple to do in terms of line work, just a really simple design. It's quick and easy, but minimalistic ones sometimes are quite testing because you need to make sure your line work looks great. Let me just flip the camera around and go to a design that, you know, the canvas that we're working on today. And then another options you have under here under colors is triadic. I don't use triadic. And then tetradic. Is it tetradic? Where it's 4 colors. The final thing I'll say about colors please, in any design you ever do, see the disc, please don't ever drag the disc here. If you ever get up into this top right corner, I want you to turn off your iPad and walk away, because what you're doing is you're picking the most saturated version of that color. That is the brightest and most pigmented version of that color you can pick, and it never works when you try to use a pigmented color like this and then you go, okay, I'll grab a yellow and it's the brightest version of yellow. It's never going to work, and it never looks good because it's never realistic. You want to grab, say, red, and then just drag the node inwards a little bit. It would take away some of the saturation from it. It will darken it potentially, or you can move it upwards and make it more of a lighter tone. But for the love of God, just never going. You can double tap in the top right as well to get the most saturated version, and then just drag it inwards, like if you want to. That's my other tip, just regarding picking colors. Desaturating a color and moving it over here is always a good thing. Have I got any other tips regarding colors? Well, there's lots of things I could tell you that you could do. I could probably give you a few more tips, but that's kind of an idea for you. So there's a bit of a long-winded one, but colors is quite interesting because you need to understand relationships between picking a color and its complementary color, and how could that be utilized in some way. So yeah, let me take a breath. Where's your question? I can't even see it. Oh, okay, yeah, there we go. A neon hand for Jay. It's an awesome tutorial. I love that one. JM, if I'm following a tutorial, I just make a screenshot and then you can use that picture in the color palette field. Yeah, you can do that as well. You'll get a lot more colors though. You can drag and drop, obviously. I don't know if anybody knows, but if you go to a palette, you can hit this plus icon here and import it from a photo. So you could drag and drop a picture of a landscape in there. I don't do that because it fills out too many colors. I don't like the colors it picks. I know what I'm looking, but then I know what I'm looking for. So that's the only difference in my sort of style. But you're absolutely right. You can drop a photo in there and it would take all the colors out of it and give you a nice big palette full of it. You're very welcome, Jay. And you're very Hassan as well. You're very welcome. And Cara as well. You are very welcome. Everybody's welcome, and Lydia as well. You're very welcome. Cool. Should we start coloring in? Well, getting close to coloring in. I need to just take a look at the background area a second. Put some extra little shapes right there in the distance before I start painting in. Again, really obsessed with doing landscapes at the minute, so if you are new here on this occasion, it's something I tend to draw quite a bit at the moment. Okay, cool. I'm pretty pleased with that as a layout. Let's start painting. So what I would then do is I always duplicate all my layers. So grab all of them and group them together, and then duplicate that group. That way I've got the original shapes I can always go back to. And now let's just start dragging in the correct colors. So I've got a palette that I did create here. There we go. I've got some base colors that I can work with and start dragging in some extra stuff. What's up at MLBB Cyberpunk? What's good? Okay, so I always drop in the base colors first. So don't judge the sky too much, obviously being super dark like that. Likewise, the water too. Yeah, we have to start painting in the correct tones as and when we get there. Now I'm going to turn off those ones in the background for a minute. This is the one here. Fill that. Sand here. I think we're going to rock the middle tone potentially first. These rocks here. This layer here is going to be dark at the front. I have to go, but definitely going to watch the live later. Thanks, Joel. You're very welcome. And the live will be up afterwards, so you can carry on watching when you get home. It tends to go up when I'm finished, probably a little bit later, so depending on how long it takes for YouTube to upload. Jay says, yeah, I don't do that either because you get too many colors. Exactly. You're very welcome, Cyberpunk. You're very welcome. Importing a color pack from a photo does work for me. So if you have any questions, anybody, you're just watching for the first time, feel free to drop them in the chat. What's up, Elizabeth? How you doing? How's things for you? Just popping in to say hey. I'll be back later. No problem. I checked out Tatty Works. I like some of her tutorials a lot, but I always come back to Joel and Flo. I appreciate that, Elizabeth. Tatty and Flo are wonderful creators, so you've got lots of lovely content there to be working on. Okay, so sky-wise, I've got a few different colours. I've got 2 colours actually. So first of all, I think I'm going to go in with the airbrush. I'm going to work from the back and just paint in that horizon. Blend those colours out a little bit. I want to fade out that dark blue towards the top a little bit because it looks a little bit too bright. And then I'm going to go in with my landscape collection brushes and just maybe just streak the sky a little bit. That top area is probably looking a little bit too dark for me, but maybe we could, if we grab these colors here. Tell you what, doing a live sometimes is probably a good thing for you to see because you get to see someone doing it over and over again in terms of like the mistakes that sometimes are made. And it more sort of reiterates my point earlier on of your creators don't do it perfect every time, so it should not be expected of you either. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow into that sky at the top there. Just bring that yellow in from that left hand side. Really brighten that up. That's probably a bit too much. That's good. Let's just put that in the palette in case I come back to it. Cool. Okay, let's work on the water. Now, water's really fun to do because you can paint beautiful little streaks in there. You're living the dream, Elizabeth, for sure. I'm really pleased at the minute with my my work ethic for Patreon at the minute. I am back up to, I've shot the 3rd tutorial for the month of May already, so that's great because that means that I am way ahead of myself, which is awesome. I get to sort of not take it easy, but it helps me out a bunch because I can draw when I'm feeling creative, if that makes sense, not draw when I feel I have to. So that's going to be nice to be doing soon. Because we've got the shoreline down here, just starting to introduce some little areas of sort of greeny colours here, just on the shoreline, making it look really beautiful. Maybe we introduce some little brighter patches in the water as well. We just streak those colours through. It's probably a bit too big in terms of an area. We are quite large with the brush at the minute. But we got some fun stuff coming on Patreon the next month. Of course, we're done already now with the tutorials for this month. Some awesome designs this month. I've had a lot of fun creating the ones I've done so far. Get some of these painted in here. Nice little light streaks there on the water. That's good. Maybe I actually then switch it out. Maybe just grab this yellow for a sec that I made and just see what that looks like right in the distance. So on that horizon line, horizontal streaks through here. Let's just start off nice and light. Let's not go a bit too mad with that. I know, I'm trying to like make sure I'm way ahead and people can't even keep up with the tutorials. I mean, it's still only 3 a month though, so it's not so bad for you in terms of Patreon and stuff. But yeah, for me it's great because I'm nice and ahead. I can really see what's coming up for the month, which is awesome. Okay, cool. So we've got some nice little bits of painting in there. Let's go ahead now and work on the next layer, which is the mountainsides really in the distance there. I'm going to keep these nice and simple. I'm going to just paint up and down on a new layer, of course, though, first. And down on that left edge, just creating some nice, big, bright edges on the edge of that side there. That looks lovely. Lagging a little bit, I think. If you don't know how to catch up, you're just going to have to take some time off work, really, ain't you? Like I said earlier, I got no idea how some people do it. Especially if you're like a supporter of multiple creators, it's nuts. This is that one. Maybe I actually drop, say, like this one in here too, and then just darken up down here. Just something a little bit on that edge. Let's just darken that up in the background. Might come back to that in a little bit. Let's start to sort of make our way onto the interesting stuff, which is like here, before we start really painting in some nice details. So the water line here just needs to be darkened up where the water's, of course, making its way up and onto the beach. Maybe the tiniest little bit around this edge. Something a little bit like that. Sleep less, that's also a good shout. But it's not. Please don't take that seriously. Okay, maybe we then go in with the highlights now. There is always something to do. Like I said, like I was saying, like there's just so many creators to keep up with. If you're like fully in this space and not doing just one individual person's tutorials, you have got so much to do. And then maybe just start to darken up this little hill here. This little bit of sand is sitting on. Look at all these new subscribers, it's crazy. It is mental. I know. I think I might introduce an even brighter color than that, a little bit more of a yellow. See what that looks like if I layer that on top. Okay, that's looking okay. We've got the basic shapes in there and sort of the basic paintings. And then I think we've got a lot of options now to start. Oh, hang on, we probably need to get the basics into these as well. This is going to use this collection of colors, so I need to lock in some very basic shapes in here with the rocks. got to start imagining there's like different sort of surfaces here. This rocky area. You have to really build that color up, you know. It might be better to go with actually bright highlights first instead. Do the highlighted side first and then add some nice greens in there. Okay, let's do that. Let's block in some big areas of color. This is one thing I'm trying to sort of explain a lot more in my tutorials at the minute, is just get some color on, see what it looks like, and then go back in and refine it afterwards. Don't worry about what it looks like to start with. Don't go in trying to do crazy details straight off the bat. That's what a lot of the big designers will end up doing, is get the color in, see what it looks like, do the tones match at least, and don't be afraid to make big changes if necessary. If you've not done too much detail, you're not focused on it then for too long. A little bit under here. So this is going to be quite a fun one once this is finished. That's looking okay. I quite like how we're starting to identify some sort of shape in there on the top. Maybe this just needs to look more like a bit more of like a ledge at the top area there. Yeah, something like that. Oh, that's okay. Let's move on to the next shape. Get some basics in there. Everything should start to really look like it's come to life a bit more now. It's quite a quick and easy shape to actually paint in like that. I like that. Okay, cool. And let's go to this one. It was this collection here. So here I need to in the end slowly start to create lots of rocky colors and shapes. Something maybe like that. Very basic, that would do. Okay, cool. I gotta start. Where should I start first? I think the water might be the best shout, because the water is going to eventually build onto how much detail I put into the rest. So let's do that. Let's go into the water layer. Let's maybe create a new layer. Or do I do it straight onto there? Do I gamble and go straight on? Let's do that. Let's be brave. So let's grab, say, I'm going to grab like maybe this blue. How's everybody doing? How are we? Straight away, you add this little white accent onto here and it just changes the look of this design straight away, and water in general. The second you start to add the little tide lines on, it looks beautiful. What's up, Kay? How you doing? I've just seen that you've got some more brushes out, some new stamps. Having some fun with those stamps at the minute, aren't you? Create some big shapes in here. So maybe start to get a bit brave with adding in some waves and stuff on this left hand side. You want to be on this beach. Hey, this beach is going to look good at the end for sure. Nice and warm. Got the basic shapes in there for a minute and basic color tones, and now we're doing the details. Now, one thing I would always say is with your What's happened here? Oh, it's straight onto the background, which is disguised by this bit of the sand. Okay, cool. Water's always really good if you start to erase into it a little bit. Oh, actually, I need to do it the other way, technically. I need to paint into the gap, I think. Yeah. So just break up the water. Don't let it be like a big round object. Break it up a little bit. Create different layers in there. Also, just this brush, if you're a patron, you've already got it, the highlights brush, chopping away into things like this just softens that edge up. Looks so good. You just start to just really soften edges up, take away that really bold look to it. Okay, cool. Let's go back. Another new subscriber on the YouTube. Jay says, I think I'm gonna, I think I don't have much time to draw because my iPad charge is slow. Anyone else have that problem? I don't personally. Just out of curiosity, if you have a Sketchboard Pro, you do have the slot up here to have the charger plugged in at all times, so you would never run out of juice unless, of course, you use yours like on your lap and stuff, like out and about around the house. Are you doing this from memory or a photo? So I sketched out the plan based on something I knew I wanted to set out. The palette I'd already set up knowing how many layers I was going to have of objects, such as this bit of rock here, this main focal rock, and the background hills in the background. So I created the palette based on what I knew I was going to do, and that was from some reference photographs from like just like nice beach scenes. So that's how I came about making that together. And now we're just going to start really crisping this up a lot. Having some fun with it. You've been busy. Hang on, that wink. Does that winking face mean videos or still stamps? I'm not trying to get on your back, but you gotta get doing it. I'm really genuinely not trying to get on your back, by the way. Sounds it's incredible how Joel is doing this in one go. I'm trying, yeah, but make mistakes along the way. Mistakes are fine. Mistakes allow you to learn how to do things potentially in different ways as well, which is cool. So I'm going to slowly now start to just plan out where I want to, how far I want these waves and stuff, like the breaking of the waves to go back. I don't want them to go back too far because you never do. You never want them to make their way round, or sorry, so further back when that's not how they're meant to look, of course. So something like that's good. You're just starting to plan out where things are going to sit. So I've kind of got an idea now that that's my limit. That's as far as I'm going to go with creating that. Potentially the odd little break further back, you know, here, there, maybe another one there too. Something like that, but my limit's really gonna be into here. Okay, cool. That's actually coming along quite nicely in terms of just where we're gonna place everything. Jay, I've got no idea, to be honest with you. I got no idea. I'm going to be a bit braver now and try and just paint in with some bigger sections here. Some more sort of brighter areas. Wiggling that pen up and down. Just try and create some nice waves in here. I just need to rotate that one around a little bit because that one's not looking quite right with its angle. Gonna wiggle this up and down. Now if you're new here, these types of drawings eventually may make it to like a tutorial, but most of the time these types of ones that they take a little bit longer, they all tend to make their way onto my Patreon. So my Patreon, I tend to post tutorials that wouldn't necessarily do quite well on YouTube, because typically YouTube videos tend to do well when they're shorter, around that half an hour mark. And so I also like to just make sure patrons get a little bit more from me in terms of duration of tutorials, and just, you know, little bits of extra content that potentially would be something that wouldn't go down, well, not going down too well. I'm sure people would like it, but it wouldn't do well for the channel. So now I'm just changing up the water there. I just want to sort of make that a little bit less rounded, and then I'll go back in now and paint in the correct colors. And you said you're working on it. Watch this space. Oh, exciting. Hey, just remember, you let me know anytime you're done, and we'll sort it out with maybe like a special guest or something, or even just some sort of, you know, I'll help you out with some sort of like promotion. Well, that's a big yellow box. Who's this stranger? Who's this stranger? Just popped in to say, I'm not dead and I still love you. Thank you, Toffee, for the super chat. I appreciate you. How's life? How you doing? Yeah, you've been gone for so long, Marie's calling you by the wrong name. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Alright, let me catch up on the rest of that though before I miss anybody in that chat after that. Takisio, how you doing? Sissy, how you doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you are very well yourself. Not for too long, but wanted to say hi. Busy. Dobby, I appreciate you, and also, of course, the support with the super chat. You're still, where is it? Where's my camera? You see, right there, still absolutely smashing it at the as the all-time highest supporter donations on the channel. Trying to sell at your father's house. You become an estate agent, have you? Okay, so I just want to whiten up some of this water here, which ultimately should then make it, you know, a bit of a nicer tone, make it look a little bit shallower. And then in a minute, I'll go in and really add some nice crisp details. But you also want to bear in mind when you do water as well, just to add in some shadow underneath the water, of course, on the actual sand, well, the wet sand. So thank you, Dobby, I appreciate it. It's this one's just like a little landscape. We painted in all the basic scene to start with, and now I'm just going to slowly start to paint in all the nice little crisp details. It's good to see you, Dobby. This is actually something I've been trying to sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Not understand, but learn to digest a little bit. Now, me being in this space I do this every week. Hang on a sec. Dobby, I'm sorry to hear about your father passing. I don't remember you ever... Did you ever bring that up in conversation? I can't remember, but I'm very sorry to hear about the passing of your father. But you mentioned that you have finally renovated the house, and dilapidated house. It's now time to sell it. Yeah, be sure to throw some photos of it over on paper. Well, pop it in the Discord. I'm sure everybody in this sort of space would love to, like, the sort of the before and afters for sure. Big Sur. That's a version of Mac OS, isn't it? They name them after certain places like that. So now I think I'm going to go in with white, and let's really crisp up some of these details. Let's really reduce this down, and let's just start painting in with some nice white lines on top of these really punch that out. See what we can come up with. Jan of last year, Jan. Fair. Oh, that's what I was saying. Sorry, is so in this space, obviously, doing all of this, you know, I've met so many wonderful people through like these live streams, especially, and just people that shoot like just really great support. But of course, like anything with everybody's, sorry, Dobby. You mentioned you gotta go. You gotta get back to work. Dobby, again, really appreciate you dropping in, but more so just to see you, know that you're well. So it's great to see your familiar face. Yeah, and best of luck, as Kay said there, with selling the house. Hopefully it's nice and easy and very stress-free for you. What I was saying there is, of course, you see so many people, you see regular faces in the streams and stuff. And then just like any hobby, most of the time, you kind of maybe drift in and out of it sometimes. You potentially don't have as much time as you did, say, the following month for the hobby. And so sometimes it can take a back seat, or you get just new things happen in life. Potentially you get new boyfriends, girlfriends, etc. And so for me, I'm trying to learn to understand that it's not like my channel's dying or anything like that. It's just people, you know, at the current time, certain people are then doing their own thing. They're busy doing work and stuff, and it's wonderful when you have things like that where Dobby drops back in and you just get to see familiar faces just to make sure didn't do anything wrong as such. But you know, just like people coming in and out. And yeah, just you can sometimes feel like you're like someone's not whole world, I guess, and it's kind of a bit too serious, but someone's like whole entertainment, let's say, and then you don't hear from them for a little while. I'm not getting at Dobby, by the way. I'm not it's not even related to Dobby. It's not related to anyone in particular. It's just me now sort of going through something that I'm learning still, you know, of familiar faces in and out of both live streams, well, maybe not so much live streams, but even in like comment sections, the Discord and stuff. And again, like I said, people just get busy. People end up getting new hobbies, or iPads break, or, you know, lots and lots of things. And also like just, you know, terrible stuff in life, such as, you know, maybe losing somebody or an animal or something like that. So it definitely goes in waves for sure. That's not because I'm drawing waves, by the way. At a distance, I like that. There's a few things there that I'm not quite sure of yet. So I'm going to, in a minute, potentially move on. Now, I like it when it's this sort of more painted look and it's less, not serious, less sharp is what I'm looking for. So I may just brush over these, soften these up a little bit more. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with that as it is for a sec. I think I'm going to go ahead and darken up the ground just a smidge. So just underneath here, just underneath that little bit there. Just darken that up. That'll make that look a lot more realistic. And just bring the design a bit more together. Oh, that looks so much better. So much better. Just that darker tone touching the lighter tone there. Okay. It's looking good, but I think maybe like, if I was going to do it again, maybe the tones would be a little bit more blue. Potentially, I would rock this color as the base color. and then paint that in a little bit more here, just to bring the water a bit more to life, make it a bit warmer. Okay, so what do I want to work on next? I'm thinking this area here. The sand, I've not got a great deal to do to it, to be honest. I don't want to do a great deal to it. Maybe add some rocks and stuff in there, smaller details, to be honest. But it's this that I want to focus on now, of trying to create some nice big rocky shapes. So let's do exactly that. Let's try and first of all maybe tell you what we'll do. We'll do something a bit different that I never usually do. Is I'm going to grab like a sketching brush in white and try and just like sort of take a look at my rocks and maybe just sort of create like a stencil for myself of what I would imagine these rocks, you know, starting to look like. Thanks, Kay, I appreciate that. Says it's looking awesome. Kay, do you do okay with the brushes over on Gumtree? Do you get any like good supporters out of that in terms of just people being nice and super generous with like payments yet, or not so much just yet? Or I mean, it's none of my business otherwise. What's up, Thunder? What's up? Hello, King. It's nice to see you on stream. How you doing, my friend? We do these live streams, dude, every single week. Maybe actually that side there needs to go the opposite way, and then this actually needs to come down here. Like so, just create some rocky shapes out of this. Trying to just try and gauge where the shapes are for a second, because by doing that it will help me work out where my highlights need to go. Oh, Jay, you said speaking of which, you might not be here next week. Hey, no problem, my friend. No problem. I presume you got something may or may not take up your time. Okay, that's kind of cool. Let's then maybe like run this line here. So I'm looking at the lines and just trying to, what can we come up with and shapes can we make? This is quite an interesting shape. Where am I from? I am from the UK, my friends. From the UK. That's a nice big shape there. It's a little pivot here. Maybe a nice little divot there on the top. Okay, believe it or not, that's actually helped me quite a bit to visualize that. So I'm going to lower the opacity down of that and then refine these highlights. Just need to make sure my iPad doesn't turn to night shift mode, so you get a different version of the colors. I've had loads of free downloads, but only a couple are paid, but I'm super happy. Hey, the wonderful thing with what you're doing is, excuse me, is it's like passive. Very passive income. You've done the work once and it's now there available, and you could be sat at home on it making your dinner and you get a £5 payment come through, or dollars, wherever you are obviously in the world. But that's the beauty of it. It's passive income for you. So if you've done the hard work and then it's just sat there, may or may not bring in some cash for you, but fingers crossed for sure it does. But like you said, the cool thing is just starting to, you're building up a bit of an audience already with things like that, so that they know who you are, they know kind of a little bit about you already, what you're about. You know what sort of content that you can make, and then if you're doing other content, wink wink nudge nudge, you are. By the way, when I say wink wink nudge nudge, I'm not talking anything spicy, guys, so just relax. Like, I don't want people dropping in my messages like, did you say something about such and such? Like, have you got the link? Like, relax. I'm talking, you know, educational content. Relax yourselves. It's all in that accent. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? You know, but you never think you have an accent until you meet lots of new people. Okay, so this is actually coming along quite nicely. I'm trying to guesstimate where like highlights and shadows are a little bit from all of these points, and then see what we can come up with from that. So the minute we're refining and working out how we can create something nice and detailed from that. Thanks, Issy. I feel like my stream's way behind today. And then we're actually going to create a new layer and do the opposite side. So start to paint in. Wait, what? Paint in some sort of mid-ground-ish content. So like just add in some grays in here on the undersides. Just chop away at it. Just chop away. Create shapes. See what happens. See what fits. See what sits. I like that saying. I might trademark that. See what fits. See what sits. Do you know what I might do? I might be brave and just do it on the same layer. Turn it off and then just, I can maybe get away with smudging some of this content together a tiny bit. I'm going to turn off that guide for a second so I can maybe get into here, fine up some of these shapes. That's looking nice. Jay, I saw you mention there you might have an appointment, so you might be back. That's perfect. Hopefully we see you next week. All right, let's just try and block in some color here. It's already come along quite nicely. I think maybe I need to start sort of understanding the underside of here and adding in some sort of rebounding highlights a little bit. Now we're going to end up adding some grass areas on the top. So maybe like under here, we just start blocking in some big areas of color and then just painting that in. Just let that sit under there. Like so. Cool. Let's switch back to the other color and let's really start to try and where we want to just really define some edges, make some edges nice and brighter, nice and sharp. Define some detail. Lovely, lovely. Maybe some like streaky rock work here. Down into there. So I'm trying to add like very random, quick and easy, more sort of or quick and easy highlights in here, where things are just, we don't spend too much time on the highlights. We're just adding in enough that it gives the impression that we've spent some time on it, basically. When you, because I get so wrapped up sometimes in exactly this, I will be so zoomed in on a piece, thinking I need to, you know, oh, that could be better smudged together, I guess, or, you know, blended together, should I say, and you know, just little things like that. But then when you zoom out, it's like, don't really need to have spent all that time on that one rock. That's looking good. Let's then define this edge up here a little bit more. Round this off. At the top, like I said, I'm going to maybe add some like grassy tones up there. Sorry, my voice went weird there because I just started to get cramp in my foot. The grassy tones in there. Lovely. So then maybe just add in a brighter streak down this rock here. Cool. Over here, again, I can maybe come back to this now and just refine this a little bit more. Just let that run round to there, like so. Okay, I'm kind of happy with that. Let's move to some other tones, but let's create another layer. This is going to be where we're going to like add some grass that just sits on the top. Are you guys planning out Kay's OnlyFans here or something? You're giving content here, and Julie as well. Julie's not even here. Giving her free business plans. How does every live stream just turn into a chatter about OnlyFans? Is it me? Am I the drama? Just introducing that grass coming down sort of the hillside down onto the top of this rocky area here. It's got to be kind of patchy with it. We don't want it to be too pristine with the grassy areas. That's cool. Maybe we just add like a little bit of green onto this ledge here, where maybe just trickle down this little side here, so I had to grow on this ledge as well. And then maybe the tiniest little bit just starting to make its way down here. This is where you got to start to sort of maybe use reference images if you struggle with the concept, but trying to guesstimate and sort of create a world and understand what's happening in it. You know, how is this grass making its way down the side there, sort of thing. Little things like that. Just planning out where you're going to lay stuff. So now I've got to brighten up these edges where it faces the sun, and maybe just create little random bumps and lumps in here, which will help make it look like there's more detail. Zigzag this up and down this ledge here, kind of like the barley design last week of creating sort of little quick jitters here and there in the brush, just to make it look like there's some quite fine details in there, when in reality we're just creating some quick and easy content, not content, but quick and easy design choices. zigzagging this up and down. Nice. Upsplash is great for reference. Do you know what? The Upsplash app's actually really good on the iPad. If you've not downloaded that already, I would recommend that for sure. It just makes life a little bit easier with getting the photos, and I'll probably in future tutorials be recommending it as, you know, to grab the iPad app instead to, you know, quickly drop in images here and there. Okay, you're absolutely right there. I use Pexels is another one. Pexels and Upsplash, ones I use for like sort of reference photos like that. You don't know what you do without reference photos for sure. Neither would I. In terms of just looking at and understanding a landscape and little elements of it. Okay, that's looking okay. I'm gonna have to start introducing some haze and stuff in a minute just to try and sort of blend the whole environment together a little bit. Milo says, guys, I've got to go finish office for today, and I'm going way back home. Glad. Hopefully you get some time to do some drawing, Milo. Thank you for dropping in. Maybe we'll see you again once you get home, potentially. Oh, did you have a nice meal the other week, Milo? On the Wednesday? John says Pixably is a good one. Oh, I've not actually tried that one. That's a good idea. Okay, let's try and reflect this in its environment a little bit more. Let's create a new layer again. Maybe just grab like here in a really dark version. Don't forget to like the stream and doodle challenge on Joel's Discord. Absolutely. Thank you, Milo. Appreciate that. If you haven't already, the doodle challenge is up for this week. If you don't know what the doodle challenge is, just a little scribble or some sort of shape or design that you can then just create a design from. I don't like the angle of that. It's slightly too not too horizontal, not horizontal enough even. Straight away when you start to just add in the ground shadows of the object, just changes the whole thing. It just starts to bring highlights and shadows is my favorite part of most designs. Once you start to introduce them, the whole palette starts to change. Not palette, the whole design starts to change. Things start to look like they actually belong. All this sort of stuff. Now I have to make a conscious decision here. Is this piece here in front or behind? Now I would argue probably behind, so it doesn't take away from the work we've done already. So I will not pop it there as such, but there. And maybe move it up as well. Do you know, let's actually even scale it down. And then erase the bottom edge of it. See you later, Milo. Much love. Have a lovely day wherever or whatever else you get up to on the day, should I say. Okay, that's really looking nice. I'm really pleased with how that's coming along. then maybe just let's then just try and wrap the shadows in here. Create what looks like more of a detailed shape, but it's actually not. We're just sort of giving the illusion that we're adding in details here by just adjusting the shadows and just seeing what other shapes we can make by doing that. So just darkening up that area there, maybe. Let's actually go the opposite. Let's maybe create a nice twist in there. Yeah, no, I quite liked that actually. And darken up towards the bottom edge here. Dark green up some of the top of this as well. Adding some nice greenery in the sun. And then switch that out to a nice lighter colour. Just brighten up that top edge. Brighten up this edge as well. Adding in some nice green areas. Okay, so what we could now do, if I was happy with that, we could say group that together, duplicate it and flatten it. And then actually duplicate it into the water. So go to like here. We'll go cursor, flip vertically, like so. Let's just say it was going to do, say that. Maybe flatten it down a little bit. And then you could just see what smudging the life out of it looks like. Or no, let's actually smudge, yeah. Let's use the highlights brush. And just really up and down every single bit of it just to distort. See what it would look like if we leave in a little bit of a reflection of it in the water. Down here we want to get rid of it completely. I'm not interested in it. Down here I don't want it to take away from those big breaking waves, but something towards the distance there just ties it into the environment a little bit more. That's quite nice. Now the sand over here still just needs a nice little bit of highlight on it. So I'm going to go back to my water layer here. And I'm going to go ahead and just brush in a nice bright edge on here. Nothing around that side because we wouldn't see it as such. Something just there. Just to indicate there's water onto that ledge there too, and potentially just a little bit of white here and there around the outside edge, tiniest little skim of it. Now this is actually quite a tricky thing to do. Painting in there is actually fine, but it's just creating the sort of rounded hook shape. We need to make it look like those waves are crashing into there as such. But that already looks far better. We've got some nice crisp details in there. Looking good. Hey, if you're still here, drop a 1 in the chat for me so I can see who we've got still. I'll pop my little heater on. Because I'm an old man and I'm getting a wee little bit cold. Okay, cool. That's looking nice. That's looking cool. What else do I fancy adding in here? Oh, first of all, we need to actually sort this rock out here on the right hand side. Now, I'm not the greatest at painting rocks in, but we'll give it a go. Give it a go. Let's just darken up these sides here. See what shapes we can come up with. Like erasing parts of them. Maybe even just a solid shape here, big cutout. Let's redo that one. We got Sissy J and Jordan so far. Jay says it's looking good. Appreciate that, my friend. Oh, I tell you what I could do. Actually, let's just glide over that a second and darken that ledge up. Brighten that. Because I have the new brush in the collection of brushes, which is the Snowy High brush. And this will give us a bit more of like a charcoal effect and potentially a bit more of a rocky look to it, potentially, or a bit more detail. So I might come back to that one in a sec, see what that looks like. In case here as well. I don't think I've got much else necessarily to talk about really this week, other than just if you weren't here at the beginning, the Easter tutorial for me has done an unbelievable job. It's absolutely flown, and they say on YouTube you gotta just keep going until one does well, it'll hit the algorithm and it'll fly. And I've had one so far. It's had 30, last time I looked on the analytics was like 34,000 views or something in 12 days, which is great. You know, I've got videos that have got 10,000 views and they've been up for like a year. So it's absolutely flown, which is amazing. And the channel's done really well. We've got loads and loads and loads of new subscribers. It really has been flying. It's nice. It's a nice little boost because I set goals for myself, and one goal for this year was, in terms of the channel, to hit 20k by the end of the year. And because we did 10k last year, and with that little extra boost from the last few days, we should do very, very well at getting close to that. So I'm super, super pleased. And you know, I know it's not all about numbers and stuff, but like when you get a nice little burst of something like that, it does sort of really give you a nice bit of encouragement to keep going. And you know, sometimes it can be tough if it's always the same views and stuff all the time. But I mean, that's just part and parcel. YouTube is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So I've got to just keep plugging away. The awesome thing for me is I get to create content on stuff of drawing, which is great. I don't have to sit in front of a camera and be like, yo, what is up guys today? All that sort of stuff. I don't have to do any of that. Sissy says, congrats, that's awesome. Okay, I loved it, the Easter tutorial. Jay also equally had fun at doing the tutorial. It was a really fun one, and I did half expect it to do quite well, merely because that the paper cutout style has done well. I've spotted sort of a pattern with it in the past of it doing well. It did well on Patreon when we did the dear sort of Christmas, the dear Christmas design. That did very well. So I was very pleased that it also did well for other people on the YouTube. On Daddy YouTube. So as Jay was saying there about loving paper tutorials, paper cutout tutorials, afterwards I was like, okay, yeah, I've got to follow this up with another one. Like, we've got to do another one. And I was like, I got really carried away, and I thought, well, hang on, let's just let this one settle. Let's just let this one crack on for a minute. And then we'll come back and we'll do another one. But let's just relax for a minute. Relax. So I did. So it got a bit easier, and obviously we've got the neon designs and stuff, both this weekend and we had one last weekend. This one's a bit tricky, you know, because it's very close to the camera. get back into that. But that's something I like to do in my spare time for sure. I love gaming. A little bit of FIFA, a little bit of Call of Duty. Obviously, as I mentioned, a little bit of Fortnite here and there. Right, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to test my friends right now. Now, 2 of them say they watch me every week. Now, I need them to text me the time right now. You know who you are. And if you're watching, you know what you got to do. If you haven't changed the tickets around, so this is a friend of mine who watches, say they watch every week. If you haven't changed the tickets around to Paul's name, you need to get your phone out and change the tickets. And Kate, tell him to change the tickets. That won't mean anything to anybody else, but we have a friend stag do coming up at the end of the month where I will be visiting the Holland, and I will be going to I won't say any further details on that actually, but we that's just a little test for them. I said to them, they say they watch every week, so I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll test you next time. And there's the test. If they're watching, they know what they've got to do. One of my friends has not had his name changed on his ticket yet, so he's not coming unless that gets changed. What's up, Amy? How you doing? You love the characters in Fortnite. The colours are so cool. Yeah, they get away with like just having such a cool style because they have no limitations on because the game modes, you know, just literally anything. Like it's not like themed in a sense. It could be anything. They have so many possibilities to just create any skin that they want. It must be really freeing for them in a sense to do that. And a new super chat as well from Layla. Thank you so much for the... Is that a super sticker? It's a super chat. I appreciate you with the £4 super sticker. Oh, hang on. Let's just give you a little sound effect. There we go. More so a yay. There we go. I appreciate you, Layla. Thank you so much for the super chat. What's up, Bugged? How you doing? I can't believe how long this drawing's taken me, because obviously nattering at the same time, but also it's quite. I've ended up putting quite a lot of detail into this one. This one, I'm like something like this after a live stream. I'm always like, yeah, I'm gonna whack this on my story on Instagram. This will people will love it. It's gonna look really good. People are gonna love it. And then I just think to myself, what are you on about? The second you put this up there, someone's gonna want it as a tutorial, and you're done in. So, it's always hit and miss whether or not to do it. At the minute, we're just going in and doing like the little minor details, such as adding some extra sort of stonework here, of course, as you can see, onto the beach itself. That will just drop a little bit of extra detail there onto the ground below, which looks pretty good. There's definitely more I could do to this, and I'm just trying to think how I can try and complete it. I'm thinking maybe first of all the sky. We could add some like big wispy clouds in the background there, and I think we will. Layla says, thank you for the tutorials. You are very, very welcome. It genuinely is my pleasure. That white looks a little bit too strong to me. I genuinely love what I get to do with all of this. My hobby has turned into something that I can share with so many people. I love it. Alright, let's clear that. I don't like that. There we go, it's a better colour. I think what I'll do, actually no, yeah, let's do the circular wispy ones down here first. Maybe do the same here too. And Bug says, am I right over here? Appreciating you. Appreciate you, Bug. Thanks for dropping in and showing some love in the chat. Do these live streams, my friend, every Wednesday. So today, typically a live stream, if you're new here, is me again just drawing, because I have to come up with ideas and content, and this is a great time to do it. But I get to also just chill, have a chat with everybody, and people drop in like patrons, etc. And we just get to hang out. You get to see me in a more casual environment than me telling you to go from A to B, in a tutorial, which is quite nice. And people get to see obviously a face as well, which is nice for them, so they can put a face to the voice as such. Damn, Sissy with the $19.99 to the $20 super chat, and says thank you for your wonderful tutorial. Sissy, you are very, very welcome, and I appreciate the support and the super chat. That's a huge little super chat there, so I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And as always, I hope the very best for you and your family. Skillshare. You know, something a bit where you can just go into a course and do like a 12 or like 12 step sort of process really. But doing this little step here, just hazing out some of the brighter areas really can help your design come on leaps and bounds. And then likewise, where's the smaller shape gone? Did I group it? I did. And Amy, oh sorry, Sissy says thank you. It's a very kind. Well, I hope the very best for you both. I really do. And Amy says, I really need to get up earlier. I'm always super late. Amy, what do you mean get up earlier? Where are you in the world again? That's come on quite nicely. And then I think maybe even the beach. Like the beach, we could start to maybe start to layer in some brighter tones in here. Just there, yeah, lovely. Just start to just brighten that up into there. Jordan says, gotta head out, been great hanging out with you. Jordan, appreciate you dropping in and just hanging out in the chat. As always, have a lovely day wherever you are in the world. So now what I'm trying to do is just start to blend things together a bit more. Just start to just introduce things into their environment a little bit more. Adding in some of these nice little gloss overlays here and there, just to tie everything together. Already that has come together a lot more. A lot more. We know our sun's over here now. Oh, actually, that main focal point, I actually need to go ahead now and group all of this together. What's that? Shadows and stuff. Oh, that's the foreground. I can group that together, duplicate it, flatten it, and then bring that layer down to the water. And we need to also do a reflection. Flip it vertically, sort of match up the feet area. Well, I say the feet, the ground area where it links up to the ground. Amy, Sydney, it's Thursday morning. I'll have to wake up earlier and watch more because I'm heading off to work. Well, don't forget, Amy, you can always watch a live stream back on the channel. It usually goes up roughly around about a couple hours later, depending on if I leave my computer on, basically. But it does go up afterwards, and you can literally rewind the live stream right now. So if you want to rewind and go all the way back to the beginning, you can. Again, I just want to grab my eraser, and I really want to get rid of this area here. I don't want this affecting that shoreline in the slightest. I want to give the, there you go, just a little, God, sometimes when I do that, again, I say this every week, I just feel a little bit like Bob Ross. You know, just a little bit, just leave it a little bit there. And just, the way you should talk and stuff, just beautiful. Have a lovely day at work, Amy, as well, by the way. And Bart's here, how you doing? Yeah, just a nice little beach design today. Something I want to spend a bit more time on. Paint something a bit more detailed. Another new subscriber on YouTube, Jeremy. Jeremy, if you're here in the chat, you should say hello, my friend. So one thing I could do is on here. If I just change this a second, just out of curiosity, if I change this to the darkest color of the sand, what does that do? That's interesting. I know, I just hear, I've noticed with myself, especially, I mean, obviously compared to like the first tutorial I ever did, yeah, you get a bit nervous about doing it and stuff. But as you start to sort of become more and more confident with this, you're also more confident in what you're saying and how you approach things. And like nowadays, I'm not afraid to just like be expressive in a sense of being like, listen, you know, add this in, look how beautiful this looks, you know, just just be complimentary to the work that you're doing. But I hear myself back all the time, and I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit of Bob there, my friend. So I'm thinking here, I'm just going to gloss over the very bottom edge here of the water to just try and introduce some of the sandy tones again. And then maybe actually go in here and mask this. Grab the highlights brush and just erase, a bit much, erase into here and just start to reveal some, you know, some of the sand underneath and just bring it through. So just leave some of the whiter areas. Just see what that looks like. And it could really start to sort of blend the beautiful ocean colors and the sand together a lot more. Already that looks pretty cool. Just need to be careful not to get rid of too much on those edges. You don't want it to be too blue near the shore. Beautiful. Love that. Just knock a little bit of that highlight out, just a little bit here. Very, very pleased with that. That last little extra touch there just looked awesome. Sometimes I do, but it's not quite the same as the real thing. Yeah, I suppose I can't interact with your comments as well if you're watching it back, so that makes sense, Amy. But says, how is everyone? Hope life is treating everyone well. Well, I'm very good, my friends. Very good. What's new with me? What's new with me? Also, do I prefer that without the highlight? Do I prefer it lighter or darker? I think the highlight does a job there, but it's like essentially just like definitely not that. Maybe even overlay, but drop that right down a little bit. Yeah, that's good. What was I going to say? What's new with me? What's new with me? Of course, super pleased with the tutorial doing well, as I mentioned a couple of times already. The Easter tutorial on my channel, absolutely flown. Personally, I've managed to get the whole month's worth of content ready for Patreon, which is really good for me. I'm pleased with that. Just takes a little bit of stress away from like just making sure, you know, I'm always on it. I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you one thing that I have to kind of really manage is creativity when it's required against when I want to do it. So do you know what I mean by like on this live stream now, I have to be in a creative mindset. Have to feel like I'm ready to draw, because, well, of course, you know, I scheduled to do it on a Wednesday, but I have to make sure that, you know, I have to force myself into a creative space. Whereas, you know, when you're in your own time, and I still do that, of course, you can draw freely when you want to, if you want to. So the benefit with me, what I was getting at there, is getting far ahead with my shooting the tutorials is great, because I can plan out if I don't feel like shooting something this week when I'm scheduled to draw, create content. I don't have to. I can leave it. I can come back to it. I can return to it when I feel like I want to draw, which is a very, very useful thing. I'm kind of grateful for that as well. I don't have to if I don't want to in certain times. So yeah, that's new with me work-wise in my actual day job. Not a lot really changed, to be honest. Not a lot changes very often. What else is there? Oh, let's talk about, we had a bank holiday weekend, of course. So went out with some friends on Thursday night, and I'm a very big lightweight, and I had like 4 or 5, and I was wrecked. I was so drunk, and just, if anyone's, I doubt any of them are watching, but if they would probably argue I didn't handle it very well. Not in handle it very well, as in like just, you know, I just get a bit leery in a good way, in a funny way. But yeah, went out with friends on the Thursday night, which is great. Got to just chill out with them, which is really lovely, and I actually genuinely hope we can try and do it more frequently. What else did we get? Then the Friday, I was just a write-off like all day, because we had Friday and Monday off here in the UK. So Friday, I don't know if it's global as well, but just thought I'd mention that anyway. But we write off the next day completely. Just felt really ill, and then had a nightmare trying to get out on our kayaks. It was just too choppy. Couldn't get out on the kayaks and paddle boards, unfortunately, this weekend, which was a shame. What else did we do? Again, just saw friends. Had a bit of a social weekend, really. Nice social charge with friends. I get a lot of energy from friends. So, like, some people like have a battery that depletes when they see friends. You know, have a social battery that goes down. Mine don't. It fully charges me up. I get a lot of joy out of it. A lot of energy from them. And then, what else did we get up to? I'm trying to think. We definitely did something else, and I'm trying to think. I can't remember. Bart says, yes, this is why I don't do commissions. It means I have a time limit. And don't do great with those. That's actually I'm really glad you said that, actually, because I actually nicely had a logo inquiry pop up, which is good. I haven't done a commission in a while. I don't know if you know, I do commissions, but people occasionally come to me for like logos and stuff. What else was there? Logos, album art, little random things like that. Which is, they're always fun to do, but it's not something I get to do very often, so when I do, it is good fun. But again, time limit wise, I also, to be honest, there's a little bit of me that hates doing work for other people, because you're at the mercy of their perception of beauty and design. So if they don't like it and you love it, it can be very hard to sort of separate yourself and be like, this is a job, this isn't my work, in a sense, as in this isn't my design that, you know, I will use, it's somebody else's. So if they don't like it, they don't like it, simple as. And Jay says, on Wednesdays, have you ever felt like not drawing on live streams? Yeah. So in recent times, I felt like if I'm not feeling it, I found like a real creative block, I won't come on. I hate the thought of not coming on. I really do. I hate that thought, because a lot of people expect it, and that's great. You know, I'm happy to be here, genuinely. But a lot of people expect it, and you know, it's part of their week. It's actually funny. I was talking to, I refer to her as Mrs. Create for everyone, but Mrs. Create about this recently, actually today even, and like, just some people expect you as part of their week, you know, on a Friday, a tutorial, or you know, just little things like that. And I like to be here for it. I like to do the live streams, but the problem is that if I feel like I've really hit a creative block nowadays, I'm not so scared to say, guys, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be on. And that's for the benefit of myself, of course, but also somewhat you guys as well, because it helps me recharge, so, which is always good, because that helps the content. So, but yeah, and not in like a negative way at all. You should never ever take it in a negative way, folks. I love doing these live streams. I genuinely do. Like, one day, if it ever goes full time, you know, I would love to, you know, continue to maintain this. I love doing them. They're great fun. I get to meet a lot of people here in the chat. And it's great to see regular faces and stuff like that. I get a lot of joy out of that. And it's only once a week as well, so it's not so bad. But yeah, sometimes it can be tricky. Because again, like I mentioned, and that's probably why you asked the question, is like I mentioned, you have to force yourself to be creative at a time where you're maybe not feeling creative, and that's a problem. Sometimes I'll just sit there, I'll take a look around some inspiration and see what I can come up with. And if I have something ready to go, I will do it. And I'll be in this stream, ready to go. Bart says, sorry, I've actually not been looking. Where is Trouble and Co? It's very quiet in the chat. A lot of people have been in and out, to be honest with you. A lot of people have been in and out. So you may have missed them, potentially. And sounds like you had fun, Joel. Yeah, it's that kind of drain when I hang out with my friends too much. I mean, obviously, you can hang around with friends too much. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, you can hang around with friends too much. But my battery, I would say, is very large. I say this a lot, and I say it to my friends all the time. Like, my friends to me. This is gonna sound so like. How can I explain this without it sounding really naff? Well, I'll just say it how it is. My friends to me are genuinely like, they're my family. Like, my friends are people that I guess friends are like that anyway, but if you were to like have a squabble with your family member, let's say, just a little disagreement or something, you know, you really don't come to a conclusion on it. Well, it doesn't matter. Like a couple of like minutes later, or the rest of the day later, it's done. It's gone. Like, you forget those things, and that's how I feel with them. They are my family. I could probably fall out with them, but at the same time, later on, you know, it's all good. I genuinely love them. Like, they're my family, and all of them. They will bring something to the table, and I'm very fortunate to have a very big friendship group. Which a lot of sort of our parents and stuff tell us, you know, we're very lucky, and we should always try and maintain it as much as we can. But we have a great big friendship group full of great people. I actually couldn't be surrounded by better people. I genuinely mean that. Like, I don't have anybody who just like does, like, you know, drugs or anything like that. You know, just down to simple things. None of us smoke. You know, nothing like that. You know, nothing against anybody that smokes, but, you know, I'm around people that are exactly the same as me. Yeah, just great people. So, you know, that's why I think my social battery, maybe even compared to some of them, maybe my social battery in comparison to theirs is probably a bit bigger, but yeah, I love them. I was going to swear a little bit there, but I'm not going to. I don't like swearing on streams too much. Bart says, you had a good bank holiday weekend then. I ended up with my daughter's sister, not my kid, and my unofficially adopted son. It was chaos. Sounds mental. Jay says, I had that problem when I had 2 drawing jobs. Oh, what, creative block and stuff. For sure. And Bart says, I can understand that in terms of the streaming we were talking about earlier, and commissions. Commissions give you anxiety, so we don't do them. Yeah, like, I mean, I'll send a design and it is proper, like, touch and go. I'm thinking, like, this is just going to go down so badly. But even though I love the work, you're just at the jeopardy of somebody else's judgment, you know? And as Kay says there, self-care is essential. And Lawrence says, hi Joe, I've been watching you for a while, and you are the one that has inspired me to start drawing. These drawings look so cool. I appreciate you, Lawrence. I appreciate you sharing some love in the chat as well. And be sure to tag me in your designs on Instagram when you're done. I'd love to see them. Make sure you drop me in the comment, that we spoke on the chat on the live stream. Jay also says, is that why you missed a couple of Wednesdays? Occasionally, yes. So Jay, a good example of that actually is today. So my week, obviously being the bank holiday, my week typically is I record on a Monday for YouTube and I record on a Friday for Patreon. But because of the bank holiday, I shot a video yesterday. What day is it? Wednesday. I shot a video yesterday, and then for the sake of me just maintaining and get ahead of myself a little bit more on Patreon, I've also shot a video again today. So my brain was already like, you can't draw again. You can't be drawing again. Like, you're just gonna burn out this week, because I do then also intend on shooting again on Friday. So in terms of the working week, Tuesday to Friday, I'll shoot 3 days out of 4 this week. And then when you have to consider that that's 3 designs, then you've got to go ahead and make designs for, you've got to come up with the concepts and then shoot them, come up with the palettes, correct them, simplify them, etc. like that. All those little things come together, and it can take a lot out of you. Like the recording alone for today's video was 1 hour 20 minutes long, but the prep that went into that of drawing that design beforehand, before I even then do the recording of it, twice as long, maybe even longer, because actually coming up with the concept. So it can be a long time. So even today, I shot a video earlier and was thinking of like, do I even live stream today? But I wanted to. So, and Lawrence there with the super chat of 99 cents. Is that in Canadian? What is that? Canadian? Yeah, Canadian. No? What currency is that? Hey Lawrence, anyway, I appreciate you with the super chat. I saw the alert pop up on the screen. I appreciate your support, and thank you a lot for the super chat. But yeah, Jay, that's exactly why, like, occasionally I may miss a Wednesday. Other days, yeah, I think that's just got to be understood by like most people that come into these streams. Like you see me regularly. There's a consideration that sometimes, I just might not be in that space, and I may have to just say no occasionally. But it's never because I want to say no, it's because I just can't. So yeah. Bart says that we get to wind you up. You're damn right you do. Your friends are your family too, Jay, as well, for sure. And Bart says, my few friends are my family, my blood family. I refuse to speak to them. Whoa, you can choose your family. Well, that is true. That is true. Don't get me wrong, I love my family, but my friends really are, extra family members that I picked. I introduced both my not kids to digital art this week, and both set of parents are not happy with me now. Why is that, Bart? It is Canadian, gotcha. It's Canadian dollars. Dollaridos? No way. Dollaridos? Dollaridos? Jay says, yeah, I created a large amount of drawings for a customer and they only picked one design, but I didn't even look that great. I didn't even look that great to me. But oh well, fair enough. But yeah, I have a full drawing schedule, and then like around work as well. I'm not listen. Trust me, I'm not making it out like my life is a nightmare. It's really not. It's a blessing. But just to explain, I'm just trying to explain like the processes that I also go through. Obviously have to work my day job. And I'm blessed with that as well. Very blessed with that. Oh no, we've got 10% battery. Damn. I need to get a spare charger for down here. But yeah, so yeah, but usually my week worked out quite nicely. That again, I record on a Monday and a Friday, which leaves Tuesday, Thursday most of the time to either if I don't want to draw, I don't have to draw, and if I want to, I've got time to prep for tutorials and stuff. So yeah, this I can't lie, I wouldn't have it any other way. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love doing this. The fulfillment that I have received from doing all of this work has been, well, I think it was just at the end of last year, not last year, maybe the year before, I think it was. My YouTube channel is only a year, and it was created in January. I think the first tutorial went up in January as well, potentially. So we're only 15 months old, and it's been the best 15 months of my life. Just the fulfillment I get out of it. I get to draw and teach other people to draw, but I also get to continue to push my skills and come up with content like this. Like I'm really pleased with how that looks. Like I obviously could sit here and spend even longer, like getting into more and more details in here, and I think I will, just to fill up the time before I finish up. But it's a wonderful thing. Wonderful. I couldn't be happier doing it. So Jay, actually, to touch on one of your points you made there about creating a large amount of drawings for a customer, I have, you know, my day job requires kind of a similar concept and process to having to create content for a customer, being that we design apps and websites. And in the process of how long I've been there, made refinements to the process of the company, they now get like a 3-step process where like we create the concept for them, and then they get revision rounds only. So like that's reflected in my work that I do here for JoelCreate when it comes to commissions. They get a design from me. It's a singular design, that's all. And then a singular revision included in the price. If they don't like it, they can use that revision for me to start again, but they will not get the original one back. You know, like little things like that you can do to create sort of a more refined process for you and take a little bit of the stress out. You know, it can really help if the whole process is really refined, and you know what I'm on about. But yeah, refining that process for the customer more so as well, you know. It's nearly a loony, not a toonie, I think. Isn't that right? The kids now want iPads for Procreate. Oh, damn. You're going to have to pay for that. You know that, right? Jay, you did jinx me about the iPad batteries. Appreciate that. And Jay says, wow, I've been following you for almost that long. From the beginning, little day one-er. And Sissy, gotta run and start supper. Hope everyone is having a great evening. Thanks for another great live. Sissy, just while you're here, again, I appreciate the support with the super chat. I really do appreciate that. And I will hope you're all very well as a family. And thank you for dropping in and showing some love. Enjoy the rest of your week. And hopefully I'll see you again next week. So now I want to just start to drop in lots of little bits of detail on the groundwork here. I need to just adjust some of these shadows a little bit, darken them up. That's just, well, it's just that you don't always know exactly what your customer wants. Yeah, that is true, for sure. I'm quite fortunate, I guess, in the sense that they come to me specifically here at JoelCreate to then ask for something. Oh, Joel, what are you doing there? So, like, they leave it, luckily, to me to do or decide. Which I guess is the same for every business, you know, for sure. No matter who you are or what type of business it is, they come to you. But yeah, us as a company, like day job wise, have really tried to refine that over the years. Okay, I like that. I think we may start to like introduce some stuff into here. Although saying that, I think I might just leave that as it is. I'm pretty pleased with it. What time is it? 11:15. How long have we been on? 2.5 hours? It's pretty good. It's about one piece the whole time. But I have to go. Love the picture though. Stay safe. Awesome humans. But have a wonderful rest of your week, my friends. And thank you for dropping in and sharing some love. As always, I appreciate you. What else have we got to do on here? Oh, there's loads more we could do on this. Absolutely loads more. But do I want to? Okay, let's just stop being a baby about it. Draw in some more stuff. So I don't know why that horizon has gone and done this. It's under properties. This music has a little sound effect in it that sounds exactly the same as my sort of notification when somebody becomes like a subscriber or a super chat or anything like that. Every time I like look up, it makes it look like I'm looking up quite urgently, but for nothing. Doesn't look like the right tone to me. Is that the right tone, or is it this one? Yeah, that's right. Okay, I feel like I have some chemistry with your customer. Like, there's a friend slash customer that I've drawn stuff for twice, and we just click. She loves my work. Exactly. Sometimes you get an occasional customer like that. That works out quite nicely. But unfortunately, it can also go multiple ways. You know, like, it can be quite easy for it to go like emotionally a different way. You know, if people have different expectations of things in terms of work that you're going to provide to them, and it's just trying to about lock everything down as best you can quite early in the process of expectations. I hate the word. I hate the word assumption when it comes to my day job. Yeah, it means that we've not had a conversation. It's a breakdown in communication. An assumption is a breakdown in communication. Plus my BF, I created stuff for him, and I have no problem with knowing what he wants. I have no problem with knowing what he wants. Oh, you know what they want. Right, gotcha. Sorry. I'll fill out that layer, color that in. Just darken this bottom edge up a little bit. A little bit of a shadow there. So that's looking nice. It's just flushing out some more details. It could really do with a lot more details. But being that the time and my battery is also getting pretty low, we will end with that as the final piece. So I might just zoom in on that for you a little bit more. So you can just see that. You can also see the dog hairs everywhere. I'll move that up a little bit for you. Is that even in the center? No, that's in the center. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. I had fun today because I got to do just one design that I wasn't worried about putting in so much detail. Because like I said, ultimately it's potentially not going to be a tutorial unless in the future I can simplify this process somehow. But this always looks really good, like this style. When you start to add in lots and lots of details, you could add in lots more to this. Overall though, I'm really happy. Things I learned today that I didn't think I was going to like is, and again, this is why if you keep repeating stuff all the time, like doing landscapes and stuff, you do like little things here and there that you, it's like happy accidents, but every time you do one, you build up like this catalog of things that you know to do in the future. In the future, I will 100% do this again. That sand and letting the sand come through on the water was great. I've really enjoyed making that a happy accident and just bringing in some of that color. It really helped. How can I explain? A shape here of the ocean, not just sitting straight on top of the sand, and like two separate objects, like the sand as an object, the water. They have this beautiful transition period on top of one another where they just sort of overlap and transition nicely. Potentially that transition could be adjusted here as well. Maybe I could go in there and make some adjustments onto there, but that's something I would definitely do in the future. Also, really enjoyed popping these in the reflections as well, just to add in a little bit in there in the still areas. But oh, actually, that's one thing I didn't do just before I finish. I didn't add the reflection of that object here into the water. Let's just quickly do that because that would really stress me out if I forgot that. Flip that vertically, move that under here, grab the smudge tool, chop into here, backwards and forwards, get rid of a lot of it towards the end there, but just enough. There we go, much better. What else was there? Really enjoying doing the haze effect as well on the side of the rocks. Again, I don't really draw rocks very often, so it's kind of interesting to learn how to sort of structure those little things like that. But again, like I said, happy accidents, as Bob Ross always used to say in his words, not mine, but you know, happy accidents. And that's a perfect example that I will continue to do that in future. It helps just really bring the two together. But this is one thing that I've also learned is like, you have to keep drawing. I understand a lot more now why people draw the same style over and over again. Because if you draw the same style over and over again, every few designs, whoa, that was a big lag spike. Are you still there? I think we're still here. Yeah, I think we're still back. I think we're back. I understand now what I was saying is why people draw the same thing over and over again, because of every few designs you may do something different. It's like me when I used to draw just suns in the background in the sky, and would just draw them as like solid shapes, and that was it. And then I'd do like little things maybe around them and stuff. But that one time I decided to go to I think I went to no, hang on, let's go ahead and change the layer effect to add, and then go to Gaussian blur and swipe from left to right, and you end up with like a really realistic looking sun. Like if I reel that back in a little bit, just around the outside here, the add effect then starts to take effect on the sky, so you get this like really bright, I'm seeing like a really sort of bright green just here, where it's taking those sort of colors out of the sky and just placing it around the edge of the sun. And that was an accident, like at the time. Whoa, 5%. But I do that now all the time in realistic designs to try and get that more as I said, realistic look to everything. One thing, actually, let's just try one last little thing. I don't know if it's going to be too much. Oh, we mentioned actually about colours very early on. That's something I'll just touch on quickly. What I always like to do is when I test draw a design, and Kay, if you're still here, this may be something we've spoke about regarding the videos sort of thing we spoke about already to help you, because it's a tip I do. If I was drawing this in my spare time, I would have gone ahead and then at the very end just copy the whole design, copy all. So swipe with 3 fingers down and go copy all. Copy all compresses every layer into one layer for you, so we've got one layer on your clipboard. If you go right to the top of your layers and paste that in, obviously, sorry, I got a really itchy nose. We got the layer there. Then what I would do is then go to the hue, saturation and brightness sliders and just tinker with these potentially and see if you readjust the colors and then maybe go back in. Obviously that's stupid, but you know, you would go back in and see if there's a better colorway potentially for the design. Maybe more saturated, maybe slightly darker, maybe slightly brighter, and then you can adjust your palette accordingly so you get the best color right at the end. I kind of like the desaturated version a little bit, but I'm going to ignore that. Let's just quickly go to gradient map. Let's see if anything here looks pretty good. Start at the beginning. That gradient doesn't really do much for us. Meh. I always love this one. Gives me real red light district vibes. Okay, that's just interesting. I always like to check that at the end. What I was going to think about doing was adding in a fat lens flare on the left hand side here before we finish up fully. I know I already said I was off, but let's just see if we like maybe pop like a, just because this is what I want. You see, if I move this line, you get the little bokeh and the little line, the little lens flare line on the left hand side there. And that could just be a beautiful little extra touch just over on this left hand side, or even like somewhere like just slightly off screen, like there maybe. I don't know. I think that could look great, but it would probably need to be scaled right up and then just sit like that somewhat. And let's just maybe just mess around. Let's just add like a layer effect in here. Add turns into like a nuke in the sky there at the back. Kind of gives me kind of Transformer vibes a little bit. Okay, cool. So just messing around there at the end. What was I going to say then? There's something else. See where we got up to with you guys. You love how it came out. Happy accidents. And the duplicate in the layer would stretch out as well. So yeah, that's it. So fun little design today. Just something I could just get my teeth into. Have some fun with creating a fun design. Let me show you some other stuff that's coming up, folks, if you are here. Let's take a look at... Let's have a look. Oh, my nose is so sore. What can I show? Well, of course, the latest Patreon tutorial went up yesterday. Just it's kind of simple, but it's kind of fun one to do. It's just a little minimalistic sort of style. Let me zoom the camera out a little bit again. Little hot air balloon design. Really fun to do though, because you get to have some fun with creating some patterns. Really cool 3D look to it. Glitch Cake says, I love your videos. I started drawing 2 days ago and I've been watching your videos. I appreciate you dropping in and showing some love, and have fun with the tutorials. Be sure to tag me over on Instagram when you're done. But let's go back. Let's see what else I could possibly show you as a sneak peek. If you are... We have a neon design coming up this weekend. I can't show you it yet because actually the camera won't do it any justice, and that's a shame. Actually, there's not a lot else I can really show you. No, there isn't. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there, folks. So fun design today. A little bit of fun painting that design in. New tutorial, of course, coming out on Friday. Nice little neon design. Yeah, you'll see what it's about when it comes up on Friday. As always, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. If you're not here, I'm not here. So have a lovely rest of your day, wherever you are, evening, afternoon, all the same thing basically. But enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your week as well. Have fun drawing, and I'll see you again next Wednesday potentially. But otherwise, new tutorial coming out on Friday as always. Is Baby Yoda in the works? It will be, but I need to get a move on with it as well. So enjoy the rest of your week, folks, and I'll see you again. So thanks for hanging out. And if you've super chatted at all or anything supportive wise like that, I really appreciate you. And if you could drop a like down on the video, helps me out a bunch. And have fun. Have fun. See you later.